Hello everybody, welcome to WhatCulture Gaming, I'm Scott, and let's just dive the hell into The Last of Us 2. Now I know the online discussions around it are vitriolic as hell, and sort of 1 in every 5 people can see what Naughty Dog are going for. I am one of those 5 people, and I've got an ending explained thing coming up. You can already read it on the website if you want to delve into the overall themes and the dissections of violence and war, and revenge and retribution and vengeance and all that lovely stuff that's in the game, because as far as the story goes, it's deliberately divisive, and all that hate and all that type of stuff is totally intentional. But to get to that point, to get to the end, you're going to need to play a hell of a lot of it first. And as someone who's finished the game, I've banked about 25-ish hours across 1 and a bit playthroughs. I dove back in, went into the encounters and did some different combat scenarios over and over again because I absolutely love the combat in this game. I think it's worth putting out some tips and tricks that the game doesn't tell you. There are various things that you just pick up from playing that aren't covered in the tutorial section and aren't covered in the loading screens either. So there's quite a lot to get through. You can also let me know your own favorites down in the comments below, different things that you've picked up along the way, and hopefully we'll all get through the story together. Hopefully, maybe, with a smile on our collective faces. I'm Scott from WhatCulture.com, and this is Last of Us 2, 12 tips and tricks the game doesn't tell you. Number 12, you can dodge while aiming. Super simple thing, you're going to want to get used to tapping the L1 button to dodge all the time. I tend to just use this as, like a dash button. Like if I was in any other third-person game, I'd be using the dash button left, right, and center. I'm going to use it to get around enemies, to flank them, to avoid things like bullets or attacks. And the game does teach you to obviously use the dodge button when someone's coming up at you, but it works in a bunch of other scenarios too. The amount of animations that Naughty Dog have coded, the amount of bridging animations that they've put in the game to let you dodge out of something or dodge into something is pretty damn staggering. Basically, when it comes to aiming, you can just keep L2 held down, tap L1, and there are a bunch of different animations that will see Ellie duck and dive around and go straight back into aiming again. It's a great way to keep a bead on an enemy and keep you moving alongside. Number 11, use enhanced listen mode to find all collectibles. Brilliantly, Last of Us 2 is all in on accessibility. It's phenomenal in terms of the amount of ways that Naughty Dog have made the game accessible and open to literally everybody. That means that in regards to getting the 100% platinum trophy, there aren't that many in the way of outright challenges. It's more just scouring the environment, drinking the story, and finding all the collectibles and things like that. And so if you dive into the accessibility options, there is something you can turn on that will literally help point out exactly where all of the collectibles are. Yes, this thing is what we see in every other game. It's click a button and ping the world, and although it makes no sense contextually, there's literally no reason, machination as to how Ellie could just ping the environment, you can do it. To do so, you want to hop into the accessibility settings, then go to navigation and traversal and hit enhanced listen mode. Now, when you hold R1 to go into the standard listen mode, you can tap circle to ping for items, or you can tap square to ping for enemies. Around the world itself, obviously you're still in black and white, but you'll get a pulsating white bullseye looking thing showing you exactly which drawers have stuff in, exactly where different collectibles are going to be, exactly where the audio logs are, etc, etc. And if you're going for that 100% completion, this is a much easier way to mop up every last thing Last of Us 2 has to offer than just rubbing up against the environment and mashing triangle. Number 10, tap down and X to spin 180 on the spot. Again, super simple thing, but I kind of stumbled into this. Just press down and X together and Ellie will whip around 180 on the spot. Super helpful if you're doing that thing where you're crouched in some grass or you're moving between some hiding spots and you hear the audio cue start to rise up and tell you that, hey, someone's starting to look at you. Just press down and X and you can just whirl around and try and figure out exactly where some incoming enemy is coming from. I use this as well to just get out of danger, to just backtrack out of a scenario and get some distance between whoever the hell you're going up against. Ellie moves so much faster than Joel in pretty much every scenario, so take advantage of things like the dodge button and tapping down and X so you're always on the move. Number 9, you can attack from above, kinda. This feels a little bit like an animation glitch, and I swear when I first went through the game, I was up on high looking down at an enemy and I saw an R2 prompt above their head. Although in hindsight, I can't replicate it, so I have to assume that maybe I had a bottle in my hand or something. Anyway, point being, if you're above an enemy, say their head is at your feet, if you're just on top of a container or a car bonnet or something like that, and an enemy is next to you, you can press square and Ellie will do a sort of drop kick animation. I literally mean dropping down and kicking at the same time. You can't do a full-on drop kick, which would have been cool. But this means that you can transition straight into those repeated melee attacks, those different knife swings or using different items and weapons straight away. You don't have to get on the ground, awkwardly position yourself and then attack. Just hit square and you'll transition straight into it. Number 8, upgrading a near broken melee weapon will reset all pips. I absolutely love the melee weapons in this game, and obviously Naughty Dog are aware of just how satisfying it can be to crack a baseball bat over a clicker's face, because for the most part they've reduced down the amount of times you can do that. Every weapon tends to start with around 3 or 4 pips, 3 or 4 attacks before it'll break, but you can unlock different ways to upgrade that. You can get one of the training manuals to essentially add health points to different weapons. The thing is though, you don't want to do that straight away. If you have a good healthy weapon, make sure it's near broken before you decide to upgrade it. Get it down onto 1 health pip or whatever, and then go into the menu and craft the new item. You know, attach the scissors to the baseball bat or whatever the hell it is. Do that when your weapon is near broken, and it'll reset all the way up to its new full health. It's kind of like when you level up in an RPG and it refills your entire health bar. Just think of it that way. Number 7, break fridges and vending machines for crafting parts. Another thing I just straight up love is breaking glass in this game. I don't think we've seen such great glass breaking tech since Metal Gear Solid 2, and any excuse I've got to just shoot some holes in some glass and see all the fractures and everything, I will take. This led me to realizing that as you explore, when you come across different diners or fridges or cooking equipment or whatever, different parts of environments that have glass fronts, you can break them too. If you smash right through a vending machine or you'll smash yourself through a kitchen, you'll find different crafting components are hidden behind these sheets of glass. The game doesn't really seem to highlight them in terms of the HUD unless you have the enhanced listen mode on, until the glass is smashed and then they're revealed in front of you. So get pretty smash happy, just treat it like Zombieland and wreck everything left, right and center. Number 6, unlockable concept art viewer will give you tons of awesome PS4 backgrounds. This game's photo mode is absolutely phenomenal, and I don't know if you're already on the train of just taking pictures as much as you can, knowing that at some point in the future you might use them as a PS4 background, but once you finally got past the credits and got back to the main menu after finishing the game, you'll unlock a concept art sketch viewer. This is based on accruing a currency that just comes up as P. I'm guessing it's just points, that you can bank into different chapters to unlock the concept art that the team used to make those chapters in the first place, but it does mean that you have access to all sorts of gorgeous pieces of artwork, tons of just Ellie exploring Seattle, tons of Joel and Ellie together, tons of just Jackson looking incredible later on at night. If you want something more artistically focused as your background rather than an in-game screenshot, just dive into the concept art viewer, spend some P, and start picking up some of the, like I said, some of the most stunning artwork in recent memory. Number 5, you can stealth grab from any angle, even if someone reacts. Now this does change based on which difficulty you're on. If you go on Survivor, enemies will react and immediately start attacking or not be open to be able to be grabbed. But if you're on anything lower, even on hard, there's a pretty substantial window between an enemy realizing that you're in front of them going, oh god, and you still being able to run up and grab them anyway. If you're fast enough, you can prevent the whole, all station on alert style thing that always comes with a stealth game where all of a sudden everybody knows exactly where you are. If you get in there fast enough, you can do that. I also recommend grabbing dudes from around corners. Sadly, Ellie can't grab people from over cover, but you can go around. You'll see that this window is just so much more generous than it was in the first game, and as long as there's a grab prompt over the top of an enemy, regardless of what animation they're doing, regardless of how much they're freaking out that someone's right in front of them, just hit triangle, you'll punch right through whatever they're doing and grab them instead. Number 4, toggle slow motion to enjoy every last frame of animation. This might be the inner Matrix fan in me, but I love a good slow motion mode, especially in Naughty Dog games. I don't know which Uncharted did it first, but Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy both had optional toggles to put the game in ultra slow motion. I've played so many combat encounters just running slowly to just drink in as much of that animation proficiency that is in the game throughout. I love this stuff. In The Last of Us 2, you don't have to unlock this sort of thing. It's actually inside the accessibility settings, and if you want, you can put it on from the beginning. I don't recommend that, but it's good fun. To turn this on, go into the accessibility options, go down to combat accessibility, switch on the slider at the very top, and then at the very bottom you can turn slow motion on. At any point in game, you just need to swipe right on the touchpad, and that will kick everything into about half speed. If you want to pick up a baseball bat, like I said before, and just crack it over a clicker's face in slow motion, I heartily recommend doing that. Number 3, save up for Ellie's faster stealth kill upgrade first. If I have one minor gripe with Last of Us 1 and 2, it's seeing the same stealth kill animations over and over and over again. The original game had Joel do that slow chokehold thing for ages. I always wanted to see something else. Last of Us 2 has Ellie do the same knife kill for ages. So thankfully, Naughty Dog have included a way to, spruce up proceedings by unlocking a specific thing. However, once you do this, it does replace Ellie's standard animation, and then you'll see that all the time instead as well. You can obtain this for 60 supplements as the final upgrade inside the stealth tree. It lets you grab enemies and dispatch them in seconds, playing further into the idea of Ellie being completely dominating in any encounter she's in. The overall thing I would get across here is that you want to play Ellie a little bit more like Nathan Drake than we ever did with Joel in The Last of Us 1. Ellie's capable of dashing to get around people to close some distance, she's capable of jumping and just, flanking people from different angles. You want to always stay on the move, and something like this is just extremely helpful when it comes to thinning the ranks overall as you move through areas. Number 2, use New Game Plus to stand a chance on higher difficulties. I would supplement this point by saying that once you finish the game, dive into the encounters option. That'll let you play every single combat encounter back to back. You can literally just go through the game's most intense moments, at least combat-wise, sequentially. If you want to just practice the game's combat, get used to enemy awareness, how far away you can be before someone knows where you are, and when the dogs are going to sniff you out, things like that, dive into encounters and just have so much fun with that stuff, especially combined with something like slow motion if you just want to enjoy the combat side of the game overall. Point being though that once you've finished, you'll get New Game Plus. You can start the game all over again on New Game Plus, regardless of which difficulty you choose to go with next time. Something like Survivor is one of the most recommended ways to play The Last of Us anyway, the first game and now the second one, but if you want to stand more of a chance in terms of which items you've taken through the first time through, pick your New Game Plus option of Survivor. It means that you'll start with various upgrades for Ellie. It means that when you get to Seattle, you'll get a bunch of different weapons and things like that, stuff that you would have had to seek out first time through. If you want to give yourself a little bit of a leg up, then go with that. Or if you want to play the way that they clearly intended, turn the hood off, forget all that stuff, and just try and get through on human instinct alone. And number 1, the throw item then Molotov still works every time. This was totally the way that I got through the vast majority of encounters my first time through the game. It's a strategy that I and obviously millions of others developed in the original game, but just if you have a distraction item and a Molotov on your person, throw the distraction item in one direction, wait for all the enemies to snarl and crawl their way over there, and then just throw a Molotov in to take care of all of them at once. There's nothing in the second game that goes against that. Sometimes the bigger enemies like the bloaters might still be able to come after you, depending on how close to the epicenter of the Molotov explosion something like a clicker was, might determine how much health it has left, but for the vast majority of encounters, put all your points into Molotovs and just flame your way all the way through the game. It might make you feel kind of crazy, it might make you feel like you're getting too carried away, burning dogs and people alike, but it'll get you to the next checkpoint pretty damn quickly. And those are just a handful of various tips and tricks that I've found across my runtime so far with The Last of Us 2. Let me know your favorites down in the comments below, and if you have time, check out the WhatCulture Gaming Podcast. For now, I've been Scott from WhatCulture.com, and I'll catch you soon.